Hello, everyone, and welcome to our weekly calls with Dr. Sveta. Today, I wanted to talk about the importance of glutathione. And we hear so much about it, especially in relation to Parkinson's disease. To begin, Dr. Sveta, uh, what is glutathione and why is it so important for our cells and for our brain?
Well, thank you guys and welcome. Yes, welcome to our weekly calls. And whoever is in Canada, happy long weekend. Happy Canada Multi-Diversity Day when we're celebrating all the nations, all the provinces. Well, guys, glutathione is what is called master antioxidant of the cells. So if this is called master antioxidant of the cell, it means master cleaner of the cellular garbage. Glutathione is the tripeptide. Now, peptides is the flavor of the month. Everybody hears about peptides and all that excitement. So, glutathione is a tripeptide, meaning that it consists of three amino acids. So, that's what it is. So, the everybody tries to get on a glutathione, but there's a caveat to glutathione. The majority of the supplements are basically a wasted money because that tripeptide, if it's not delivered in the right way, it is what is called not bioavailable and bioabsorbable, meaning that bioabsorbable, meaning that the cells you got, your small bowel doesn't absorb it to get into the bloodstream to deliver it into the cells, which makes them not bioavailable. They're not bioavailable into the cells to do their function. So the issue with glutathione, there are multiple ways of glutathione. There are different function to just glutathione because there are different families of glutathione. There's glutathione transferase, there's glutathione reductase, there's glutathione. So let's don't get complicated. There is oxidized glutathione, there is reduced glutathione. We're not going to get into these details. We're just going to get into the notion that we need to increase the production of glutathione because the older we get, the less of the glutathione we'll make. And the dirtier we are, the more chronically inflamed we are, the less glutathione we make. So that is the bottom line.
Okay.
So, how do we increase our production of glutathione, or how are we getting the increase of the extraneous delivery of the glutathione? That is basically the question of the day. However, Maria, you have another questions.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Sveta. I just uh, I've read that one of the earliest biochemical findings in Parkinson disease is a reduction in glutathione um, in part of the brain responsible for production dopamine. So first, it's extremely important to have glutathione in our brain, but why is it happening with Parkinson patients? Why is it the first thing, the first what happened is reduction of glutathione
Well,
when you have
guys,
Parkinson?
yeah, sorry, Maria, I kind of, I'm so excited. So I'm so eager to jump on call. So I'm looking at the Parkinson disease. And what is basically Parkinson disease? Parkinson disease is associated with progressive misfolding of a different proteins, and one of these proteins is called alpha synuclein. So, just it's a little couple medical terms. And this misfolding leads to mitochondrial dysfunction, oxidative stress and chronic neuroinflammation. However, listen to this, because to me, the most important thing is why? What is the pathogenesis? What is the origin? So, the pathogenic pathway of Parkinson's disease is thought to involve a number of steps, including misfolding and aggregation of that protein alpha synuclein, then mitochondrial dysfunction, increase, impairment in protein clearance, neuroinflammation, and oxidative stress. So basically, we are back to vicious circle. So what we're talking when we're talking about, let's say, Parkinson's disease, so the origin is the misfolding, the oxidative stress, the neuroinflammation, and the sequelae of Parkinson's disease is the misfolding of the protein, the oxidative stress, and neuroinflammation. So we're dealing with the vicious circle. So now, if we have, so what is, as I said previously, glutathione? It's a master antioxidant. So master antioxidant means that it negates free radicals. What is the abundance of free radicals? It is oxidative stress. So when we have the volume of these free radicals or increase in that oxidative stress, which is in a sense pathologic condition, on top of that neuroinflammation, so of course your production of glutathione is going to lag back. Even per se, it's supposed to be normal, but we need more and more to fight with this. So lagging back, we're always behind, which leads to the aggravation of the disease. And
Why
that's
can't we just,
why, go ahead.
look, I was just, why can't we just go to a store and get glutathione?
Well, we can, because I already told you. Because the glutathiones that we buy in the store is not bioavailable and bioabsorbable. However, are there versions of glutathione that are more bioavailable and bioabsorbable? Yeah, they are cost prohibitive in a sense. It's called liposomal glutathione, or it is called glutathione in nanoparticles. You need to go to very specialized store or deal with
Mm.
very specialized high-end nutraceutical companies, or deal with some physicians that have their access to this specialized glutathione. However, in a sense, the maybe you can do dual things, and of course, I am not a neurologist, so I'm not advocating on drugs or anything. Whatever the physician prescribe you, the drugs stay on it. However, we need to look at the things physiologically and metabologically, from the cellular function, from the cellular pathways. So then we need to think, which is the way of making my cells to make more glutathione? How
Yeah.
do I make more glutathione? So in order to make glutathione, you need to upregulate another master regulator. There is a master regulator of cellular health, which is called NRF2, nuclear respiratory factor 2, that is responsible for upregulating over 200 genes that are responsible for our well-being. We used to call them survivor genes. No, I would like to call them the genes of our balance and of our metabolic rebuilding or reboot. So when we start optimizing our NRF2, that NRF2 is going to go into the nucleus and poked into the glutathione genes, stimulating those glutathione genes to signal to the cells, please start making more glutathione. Then the notion of eating right comes on board, because the glutathione is a tripeptide. It contains three amino acids: glycine, glutamine, and cysteine. So we need to eat foods that are rich in those amino acids. And please do your homework. It's very easy to find those foods. So you turn on your NRF2. NRF2 is going to turn on glutathione genes. Glutathione genes are going to stimulate and signal the cells, please make more glutathione. That's how we need to go. And then we need to find the ways how can we optimize our NRF2, which is the master regulator of cellular health. Also, we can call it master regulator of oxidative stress.
So, just in other words, we can activate our own glutathione, the mass of antioxidants. We
We can
can activate a lot
activate.
more antioxidants than just eating, I don't know how many blueberries. For example, we need to eat to
We do need to eat
compete with.
blueberries, especially you know that you're in Toronto, you're in the blueberry country. So yes, please eat your blueberries. Eat your antioxidants. Eat your vitamins. Absolutely, and we absolutely need blueberries because blueberries also contain vitamin C, and vitamin C promotes glutathione and supports the glutathione production. But we absolutely have to start making our own. We have to increase the production of our own. And that's why we need to start upregulating our NRF2.
How can we do that? And I'm sure that would lead us to protandum NRF too, because it doesn't contain glutathione, right? It creates
It
the
turns on glutathione genes.
genes, exactly.
Well, you can activation of NRF2 doesn't necessarily sit on eating or taking NRF2 activator pretandem, but it's certainly an amazing thing because you also can eat NRF2. It will not upregulate you physiologically, aka normally like pretandem, because it has kind of its magical things. Sorry for using big words, because we do have stories on it, especially when it concerns Parkinson disease. That's how my experience started when I met an amazing guy, Robbie, from Kelowna, BC, and I saw him at Starbucks cafe shaking like a leaf, and I just
Yes,
had
share
to
this
stop by.
experience. I wanted to ask you about that, but I would appreciate if you share
Yeah, I met
a bit of his
Robbie.
story.
I met Robbie at Starbucks in Kelowna a few years ago, and he was shaking like a leaf, sitting and looking at his cell phone or maybe laptop, I don't recall. And I just felt compelled and obligated to stop by the table and say, Robbie, sorry, to say, I'm so sorry. I don't know you. You don't know me, and you probably can tell me, mind your own business. We are having a presentation, and I may have something that may help you. He gave me his trust. We're friends for now, for years and years. And the best thing that Robbie told me about being on NRF2 activator pretandem is, yes, he's shaking a whole lot less. He's still shaking, but he shakes a whole lot less. But he said, the most important thing is the shaking of my brain is gone. I don't know how to explain it, but people who have Parkinson's, I'm sure they do. They do understand what I'm talking about. So to me, changing one life like Robbie, that's what keeps us going because that's a belief. We don't just sell things, we help lives.
And the beauty of the Robbie story, he was willing to share. And I worked with him and just interviewed him how he was willing to share every particular detail. And it wasn't hard, easy for him to type, but he typed for days just so to share and help other people how it helped him, how he said, I can now start and complete the task. I don't have to wait for another day to button my shirt. It was just, yeah, it was phenomenal.
It was delightful, and especially to see this guy, the tiny little guy with an amazing kind smile. And we became friends. However, let's get back to this. I'm pretty sure that you have an amazing video of Dr. Joe McCord, co-creator of NRF2 Protandum, one of the world-renowned scientists, a co-discoverer of superoxide dismutase. And guys, I think Maria is going to play it right now or attach it.
I will probably share it. It's a 2 minute video, so it's a very it's fast and very condensed. It's just basically he explains how the 5 natural plants that are ingredients in Protandem NRF2, they were carefully selected, how they work in synergy and activate your body antioxidant defense system, helping to produce your own antioxidants, and of course including glutathione, which is, as Sveta said, considered to be the master of antioxidants. So thank you all for watching. Dr. Sveta, again, thank you immensely for these insights, so much knowledge and science. And we will continue next week. Bye, guys, for now.
Thank you very much, guys. Absolutely. We'll see you next week. Have a great week. Thank you. To love, to health, to kindness.